name's Eric, and I've got a scratchy throat, but I just need to clear my throat a little bit. Yeah, it's all that coffee I drink, maybe. Hey, I'm making animated faces that you can talk to, and that's an understatement. That's an understatement. The amount of stuff that's going to get delivered in the long term is going to be kind of ridiculous and hard to describe. So, just hang with me. Okay, let's demo though, because I did get a lot of new stuff built into Wisp yesterday. I did a lot of it off stream. I don't know, sometimes I just want to go off stream. Let's demo. All right, come over here, get a fresh load on the app. Come into Faces. Okay, so here's what's new. Okay, there are these emotions up top. That's always been here. This whole UI for selecting stuff has been here for a while. But the test voice, now you can change it from muted to male. It says a little note here. Voice acting by Jeffrey M. Butler. That is the voice actor who you'll be hearing from. Or female. But then there's going to be a female voice that plays, and that gives a credit to Chelsea Blackwell. These are basically two characters from... you know what? Instead of me saying what it is, I'll play it, and then I'll explain where it came from. Okay, so if I click test voice male, and then I come up here and I click on one of the emotions.
My axles? I invented them.
Changes the face to the emotion like it did before, but now it'll play a bit of test dialogue with that voice. This one's voiced by Jeffrey M. Butler.
I don't invent anymore. Oh, I should go back. I must create! I suppose. I can't wait to see my tools again. Blockage. You'll just slip into the spikes faster. No, it won't. I plan to make no further plans.
So there's two variations on each mood. Okay, so that's for a male voice to test with. One might argue, well, if I'm making a face for a character, there's going to be a different voice that goes along with it. Yeah, you can hear that too, but you'd have to develop you'd have to bring in audio that's recorded for your dialogue, and this is just for a quick preview, so you can see what the face looks like when it's talking. Go to female voice, do a little gender bending here with this person.
I don't get it. I'm sorry. What is this place? Did I die? Come up and get me. Why are you hanging on the wall? That's some good whistling. Oh, it's beautiful. You all just sing that discouraging song to whoever comes through? I can push you if you want. Fine, you got me back. You are so irritating. Thank you for the offer.
So yeah, these samples came from a game I released last year called The God Killer Chapter 1 that Chelsea and Jeffrey were both voice actors, part of the cast for that. There are quite a few other characters, some other great acting from other people, but those two characters had enough lines over a range of different emotions that they were easiest to use for demonstrating the 11 different emotions. So we got like 22 lines for each character, actually 44 lines altogether, male, female, and then two variations for each of the 11 emotions. Okay, so that is in, and I'm getting closer and closer to having this whole screen be fully functional. I noticed that after I added the code to load in the audio for these emotions, that during development, if I do a reload, it's going to come back with some errors off on this right side, this developer panel. And all these errors are just saying we don't have an audio context. The browser does not have an audio context, and it won't until the user makes some gesture on the page. So before, everything I did with audio was in response to a click, but because this particular page immediately tries to load audio, it just doesn't work. And I thought, like, well, we could wait to load the audio until after the user clicks on something, but I really don't want to have a long delay. Like after you click on one of these things to wait like 3 seconds and then it suddenly plays for the first time. And I want a general solution to make sure that we can get the audio context when we come into different places and perhaps the user hasn't performed a gesture yet. So what I started doing this morning is making a little pop-up dialog that will show up on the screen if the user hasn't performed a gesture yet and the audio context is not available. And it'll just give them something to click on, and then whatever was going to happen will continue happening, and the audio context will be available. So I'm going to use this session to work on that. I did see one other bug that I may try to fix in this session too. It is that if I do an undo, the emotions stop working for changing. I'm not sure why, but I can debug that. So first, I'm going to add that dialogue, and it will help me be less annoyed while I'm developing, for one thing. Because right now I have to come to this page and then come back in, and then all the audio will load. And that's going to be super annoying for development. So it is pretty important for me to create this little alleviation so that I can make good progress on other development tasks. Okay. So, come back to Wisp. I've got this code already for a dialogue. Sometimes a web browser needs you to click on something, anything before it can use audio. This is one of those times. Kind of a silly dialogue. Maybe later on I'll think of a refinement, but I can start with this. All right, so I've got the dialogue. What are the things I need to do? I need to add it to the face screen. I'm not sure about this logic yet. I'm going to add a placeholder here just for the moment. Actually, let's just be very simple about it. Let's do set modal dialog to null, and that'll close it. Okay. So I'm thinking next about my initialization function and what I need to do to pass to it requirements. And let's take this and put it inside of the scratch dock. A little pocket design. Pocket design. Okay. What are my requirements? Faces screen should pause for a user gesture if no audio context is available on first check. Initialization should resume after dialog is closed. Approach should be reusable on other screens for other operations. Okay. I think that's the requirements right there. First solution. General interactions. TS. On activate. Goose. Who you blanking? Who you blanking? Do not understand. I do not understand what you're asking me. Oh, you know all that is putting a little divider from the previous chat session and the current one, so that when you type something and I glance over, I'll see, oh, it went underneath those 3 lines, and I'll know that that's the new fresh chats. And I'll respond to them. Just makes it easier to parse. Yeah, exactly. So I don't necessarily clear out the chats between sessions. I don't know. Maybe there's some part of it kind of like it looks more inviting for somebody arriving to the stream to see like some earlier chat there or something like that. Sometimes I do clear it out. But yeah. Well, if you want to see all the old stuff, it's all there for you. Oh. All right, let's see, what are we doing? General interactions. Init. What will init be doing that's different? Oh, the planes are here for you, buddy. Planes are here for me every day. Why shouldn't they be there for you too? I've got no point. I don't mind them at all. They're fairly pleasant to me. Occasionally there's one that's very large, like a military jet or something like that, or a helicopter, and those kind of suck. But they're not. Even those aren't that bad. And the weird thing too, living near an airport, is sometimes you see something that looks like a solar eclipse. Like all of a sudden the sky all around just goes dark, and it's an airplane passing in front of the sun and casting a large shadow over my house. So I look out the windows and it's just like dark for like 2 seconds. It's very strange. Okay, so in it, what's it going to do different? I can pass set modal to it. I don't know how to do a yield though for that. Set modal dialog. Let's see. Check for I'm going to check for the audio context. If not, then I think this isn't even the best way to do it, but let me keep trying to figure out if this is at least a valid option. Set the modal dialog to open the activate audio dialog. The part I'm missing is how does it resume after it comes back? Oh yeah, just like one for your local neighborhood, right? Is it people freaking out about nonsense? Yeah. I know that dynamic. I know it very well. Or at least I think I know what you're talking about from my own experience. Like it sounds similar. So I live in a neighborhood that has a sizable homeless population in it. And they live in like tents along the road or RVs. And anytime something kind of sketchy happens, like all my neighbors are freaked out about the people that are just basically trying to survive living nearby, and they're like calling the police to get them swept along to someplace else. Kind of sucks, actually. Really sucks, actually, because it's not even necessarily anybody that's from that population that's causing trouble, although it could be in some cases, but most of them are just trying to friggin' live. And like there are some hardened criminals that come through, but it's mostly like disorganized stuff and mental illness type stuff. There was one guy that was nicknamed the Scraper that used to drag heavy things around on the road. And that guy was kind of freaky, but he was gone. Then there was one dude that just tried my doorknob on my house. They called him the Scraper because he'd just drag heavy shit on concrete and make a scraping noise. Kind of creepy. Yeah, there was one guy that I caught on my camera just trying the doorknob of my front door to come in, and I always keep it locked. We tried the same thing with the neighbors, and he just walked right in. And just kind of hung out. And then my neighbor noticed him and freaked out. The guy was just like, hey, I just need some place to just kind of chill. Just like high on something. Okay, do you want me to check Discord on stream or off stream? Because I can bring it up, but then like if you sent me something that's kind of private, then I don't want to show it on stream. Okay. I will not worry about that privacy aspect. I'll just check it out. Boom-ba-doom. That's a kind of an eerie picture, but funny too. Yeah, I don't know. It looks like. Yeah, he looks in that picture due to video processing and whatever. He looks like a ghost. See, I had one car break in. I had some vandalism. I had like the door camera thing ripped out of its socket, but things have calmed down recently. But I guess the most healthy thing for me I found was to kind of act like it's just a matter of business. Whatever kind of weird things happen, as long as you're safe, you got enough money in the bank to cover little bits of vandalism and stuff. It's all right. It's just like a cost of doing business. The business being living in a house in a certain neighborhood. I try to keep my neighbors to just calm the fuck down, because they get mean and paranoid when just a few small things happen. It's suddenly they're very worried about personal safety when that's not quite the right level to be at in response to some of the things that happen. But on the plus side, I get to live real close to downtown Seattle, and that's got a lot of nice benefits. You live in a lively neighborhood with restaurants and shops you can walk to, and I can just walk down to Starbucks if I want to get some coffee. I went and saw like a concert 2 miles from my house, easy parking. You know, it's just like it's a nice location. Just have to deal with a little bit of chaos. All right, if I see that guy, I will post to the Facebook group for your neighborhood about the information. All right. Okay, so if I set the mobile dialogue to open the activate audio dialogue, the question is, how do I resume? How do I resume? And I don't think I can very well. To be honest, I think it needs to be. I don't think this works. I'll leave this half finished because I don't think it works. Okay, I think I need to figure it out before I call in it. I mean, it would just be so excellent if I could just have a wait for audio activation. Just like a function I call someplace, it's async function like that. I wish that would work. I just don't know a way to make it work. And that would be like this kind of thing. That's what I want, but I just don't see a good way to do that. Okay, number 2. Face screen, TSX. Before calling init, check for audio context. If not, then set mobile dialogue. Oh, yeah, this. On continue calls in it. It's a little tricky. That's a little tricky too. Oh, it's warm. It's warm. Number 3. This feels like it might be a pain in the ass, to be honest, but let's keep going. Number 3. Faces screen, TSX. No audio context. Redirect to home screen. This is not a bad plan, to be honest. Because if I redirect to the home screen, I can just click back into Faces. So that one's really easy. Number 4. Redirect to audio activation screen. And pass continue URL. I'm thinking about this a little more. It's a pretty clean solution to just send somebody to the home screen. I don't have to do all this weird kind of chaining callbacks and which I feel like it's going to make the code complex. Let me add one more requirement, which is user can refresh any page and continue working without errors. So I was thinking of, let's see, the other requirement that I was thinking of initially is developer, me, can quickly test changes after a hot reload. Which sounds dirty, but it's not. It's just the browser reloading automatically when some code changes underneath it. That's all hot reload is. Boom. Get your mind out of the gutter. Dun, dun, dun. Okay. So minus not a complete solution. That's a big minus. Or okay, let's say no simple solution to code plus very reusable if you can boil it down to one function call. Wait for audio activation. That would be great if I could, but it just feels like it can probably be done with a lot of frameworky code. Yeah. So it'd be something like I have a class, like a screen class or a screen component that you have to use and supply certain things to, and then this function just works. But it feels complex, very complex. This one. I don't know what is good about this. What is good? I guess what's good is minimal clicks to return to what you were doing. That's true of this solution up here too. We'll put maybe 3 negatives on this. That seems like a hell of a lot of work, to be honest. A little complicated and fragile. Brittle. Coupled. That's it. Okay. Plus can see the original screen underneath the dialogue. Keep your context. Okay, so this number one, I'm pretty sure I'm not going to do. Number two, I don't know. Is it worth it? Number three, boom, boom. Very easy to code. Generally reusable without much coupling. Without coupling, really, it's not coupled. There'd just be on each screen something that says if we don't got the audio context, just redirect away. Okay, don't need the callbacks to bring up the modal dialogue or anything like that. Bad part about it is kind of the lack of the good thing about this, and this. So I won't like always state the inverse of a con, or a pro is a con. It's just redundant. But this is pretty good. That's it. Easy to code. Not very easy to code though. Generally reusable without coupling. It will continue to what you were doing. Give some explanation. So I'm just thinking about it a little bit. I think if a user hits reload on their browser, they shouldn't be that surprised to go back to the home screen of an app, and they shouldn't be too miffed if they just have one click to get back to where they were at and all their data is still there, which will be the case. So I'm favoring number 3. I'm definitely favoring number 3. So that dialogue that I was making, I think I'm going to end up deleting it. I don't think it was right to add it. I think I just want to redirect to the home screen. Alright, so let me assume we're going to do number 3. Delete these other solutions. Let's flush this out a little bit more. Should I use the router to navigate? I probably should. Yeah, I'll use the router to navigate. So let's see. Let's create, it'll be a function like function. Get to home. If missing audio context, and we'll pass in the navigate. I mean, that's it. I think that's it. And it's going to return a Boolean. It'll return true if there was a navigation. False if not. That's it. Okay. So, where do I want to store that? I think just in common. Okay. What's my module going to be? Verify. Let's see. I could call it audio context util. That'll suffice. Or maybe, what about navigation util? I think that would do it. Okay. Add TypeScript file navigation util. Go back to my home screen because I think I had some code here for navigating. Okay, menu tile. Does that work? Yeah, I use navigate. Okay. What's the value that gets Navigate function. Okay, that's what I need to have passed in. Navigate function. So go back to there. Cool. And import the audio context. From SL Web Audio. Okay. If not, the audio context. Navigate. Okay, let me see what I used elsewhere to get to the home screen, because I want to make sure I do it right. Oh yeah. Use this instead. That's much nicer. Okay, good. Okay, so then if I go to my faces screen, let's just delete the activate audio dialog for now. Get rid of the import. Okay, and we say if not navigate to, okay. Const navigate equals use navigate. Check my imports, gotta keep them tidy or it just gets crazy. That's wrong. Let's put you where you go. Did I lose some formatting here? I may have. I mean, it'll be okay, but Okay. Yeah, this is a bit of a mess. Okay. Did it just like take out all my formatting? Or did I put that someplace else and I'm just misremembering? Let's go look at general interactions. Is that where I had all the... Yeah, okay, I won't try to do all the formatting, but I do want it alphabetized correctly. So faces, part, then we go to interactions, core util, interactions general, interactions part, IR. Yeah, the reason to alphabetize when you have this many imports is so that you can tell if something's already been imported, or if you're already importing from one file and you just need to add extra things to it so you don't get redundant imports. And it seems maybe a little anal retentive or OCD to... Seems a little mentally ill to have to organize them this way, but it does help. Mouth, nose, okay, part size, view, EL, V, T, C. Now we're past the dot W or dot slash. Okay, common, UIC, yeah. Okay. Oop. Okay, so that should do it. We shall see if that actually does something good. Okay, so if I just do a reload, yes, it took me there. There's this little warning message here. Okay, I had to click twice there, I'm not sure why. Okay, but it did come back and load in the audio.
I plan to make no further plans.
So that was good. I think this is a good solution. I would not mind if these warnings were disabled so I don't have to look at them. And that I can fix. That's interesting too. I already wrote this function. It's actually going to pull. But if I use that inside of init, what would happen is it would seem like initialization was taking forever. Huh. That's okay. I kind of like what I got. I just want to hide the warnings. Okay, the audio context. Let's do finally. should disable it. So let's do a reload here. Okay, was this a warning? Yeah, it's a warning. $15 and $20. That's where it... I feel like it did not update the dependency. Because 15... It might have. Here, let's do a console log. Okay, so it is calling that. Whole bunch of times. Okay, I guess I can't disable the warning. That's okay, I can live with that. I can live with that. Yeah, actually, let's just revert this. Git status, git checkout. So I think that's a pretty good change. Come here, it works. Okay, let's do a hot reload. See what happens with that. Window wisp and I can get rid of the activate audio dialog. Not sure if that makes a hot reload though, because I just removed code that maybe wasn't even part of the build. So let's change something else. So we are on faces screen. If I add a white space, is that enough? Maybe not. It's too smart. Too smart. I have to make a legitimate change apparently for the hot reload to kick in. I don't know. Huh. I do not understand how hot reloads work. Because it feels like what should happen is that it loses the DOM, which would also include module scope variables, but somehow it manages to keep working. So I don't know what the conditions are for it to... It did do a hot reload just now. It updated this caption here, but it didn't do the thing where it updated the face. Maybe that's one thing I should learn at some point. See, it's so instant. And it's basically retaining its state, which is strange. Kind of magical. I'm not sure exactly what the rules for hot reloading are. I do know that it'll do a hot reload if I make a change in a dependency library like SO web face. No, it's good. So it didn't have to go to the other page to, like it was able to, I don't know what the rules are. I don't know like what it gets to keep and what it dumps. I just don't know. Let's put this back. I'm guessing it's like a DOM replacement. How does React hot reload work? Yeah, just tell me what the heck it is. What does it do? So these are reasonably good answers, but they still leave me thinking I don't know exactly what the rules are. I shouldn't get so deep into this though. I mean, it's a developer thing. I don't really need to do anything related to hot reloading except just make sure I'm okay to develop fine with it without any impediments. So I've met that standard. Hot reloading won't apply to an end user when they're using the web app. So therefore, it's just not worth rabbit holing on it. So let's move on. The bug. Reload. Okay. The bug is change the motion, then do an undo, then no motion changes are possible after that. What about lids? No, lids work. Okay. So what do I want to look at? First, let's see when I've got it into the broken state, how the handler for changing the motion works. So if I go confused, then I do undo, I can assume I'm in the broken state now. And let's come over here, go to, where's this file gonna be? Faces screen. Oh, I'm in the wrong project. Wisp. Faces screen, and then it's going to be motion selector on change to on a motion change. That's going to be in this view settings interactions. Okay. On a motion change, update for static face revision. So that's where I'm expecting it to call. Okay, the file is view settings interactions. Curious if this function gets called. There we go. Okay. So the motion I'm expecting will be set to confused. It is. It goes neutral equals 0, confused equals 1. Then I go to update for static face revision. Revision manager. So if I add the changes, next revision is 0. But when I go through the keys and my changes, yep. Wait, is there no current revision? No, okay. That seems fine. Okay, here's where it should be sending an event that updates the face. wonder if my subscriptions are stale. It's kind of ugly going to the code this way when it's in the dependent library. So it's giving me the code that has gone through like Webpack and been output to raw JavaScript. So, did it? Okay, if callback. Is there something where I need to resubscribe? Maybe. Okay, so what am I looking at? I'm looking at, first I was looking at the code in eyes, but the question is, which data is it operating on? And I can see that it's going to use the enclosure of the onload. It's going to set the component state, right? Yeah, mouth component state. Let's take a look at the mouth component state. So it'll set it correctly. The question is, that callback to the new head component there. I think I've got some errors here to fix. What is my subscriptions length? Have I just been registering 1 million? Yeah, okay. So I set up subscriptions each time that it loaded. It is going to call them all. It's not really great. But all those subscriptions are being amassed as I go through my undo state. So every time I do an undo or a redo and it creates a copy of the head, it's going to set up a new set of callbacks. And that's going to be inefficient if nothing else. But it also seems to me like it should be currently, even with this inefficiency and redundancy, it should be calling the new instance of the head component. Ooh, but maybe not, because I've got that duplicate method, and the duplicate method does nothing related to subscriptions. Yeah, okay, so that's that. I get it. I get it. I need to make some updates to that code. So web paste duplicate. Yeah, that's the trouble right there. Boy, it's going to be a tricky one. So I'm letting each component, each canvas component, register for PubSub in its load function, or its onload handler. Okay. Gotta do some more design around this. Okay, before I get going on this though, I can do a commit for my last update. Git status. What? Oh, that's in WebFace. Okay. Git status. Git. I just dislike having code that isn't used, so I think I'll take out the OK dialog too. Okay, window wisp. I changed my mind. Leave that. Okay. Git add source. Git commit a. Oops. Okay. All right. So then I've got that other work done and committed and pushed. I'll do the design for the next bit. What are the requirements? Let me see if I can write this in a more generic way. All right. stomach juice come up into my mouth, I'm going to go grab a quick glass of water. So first I was thinking just unbind all the subscription calls to the pub sub for heads that aren't active, but heads retrieved from revision history will be updated with current current state from events. Okay, number one. Move subscription to a shared object separate from the components. That's the gist of it. Number two. Duplicate. That sets up the callbacks in the copy. Old callbacks continue to be called updating component state across the entire revision history, which sounds horrible and inefficient, but if I think about, like, even if there was 1,000 revision states, to call that event handler for it 1,000 times is nothing. It's all it's doing is setting a variable, so it's just not that big of a deal. This part here might be a little tricky though. Okay. Create separate bind events interface for campus components. Problem with binding and unbinding is you won't retain the state that, no, you will. Okay. So let me think. If I do a duplicate of an object, get the component state from that object, but it may not have been updated with the most recent state. Yeah, so okay, no, I am right. Problem. When binding to a revision state head, that head component state will not contain any previously updated state from events. Okay, so that probably kills that idea. This one I kind of like. This feels architecturally a little bit better. If we had something called character state. Let me play with this a little bit. Character state, or I suppose face state, which is different than component state. Face state, and it'll just have like all the stuff. It'll have motion, lid level, etc. Everything. Okay. But also it'll be for one character. Face state manager. Set. Okay, so that's usually a good idea, but is there any specific reason? Are you just saying I'm getting too intense and I ought to just... You weren't even asking. So it's just something I should comply with for my own benefit or your own benefit, one of the three. Okay. All right. Micro break. Here it is. Okay. There. I'm good. Back to it. But the intensity is actually sometimes what's needed to make the diamond. So you need it both. You need to calm down sometimes. You need to get intense other times. Boom. Okay, so set. Set head. Okay, so there'll be an init. If you have like a change head, and then you pass in the head component. Okay, init will subscribe to all of the events with callbacks that, what do they do? What do they do exactly? Update component state of I don't need to do it that way. That's overly complex. Subscribe to events with callbacks. Update state within this class. E.g. emotion. Update face state. Okay, so this is going to be like face state, face state. Okay, then how do the individual components get at these guys? So change head. This is probably a good time to think about the other requirement that's coming up. Right now I've got one set of events that all listeners answer to. Support for multiple distinct characters. That receive events only for the character they are bound to. That is key to figuring this shit out. Okay. Oh man, this is breaking my brain a little bit, to be honest. It's not that I can't figure out some way to hack it together, it's just I want to come up with a way that won't need a lot of maintenance and will support the future. So that's why it's taken me a while to think through it. Okay, who is sending information? Who is sending events? Different bits of UI. Right now they're using the pub sub. Publish events. Okay, so the pub sub. Publish. And currently it's topic message, but it should be character topic message, or it could be the message includes the character, but I think since the character is part of the routing along with the topic, those two should define a channel. And there might be something like a constant for like all characters. We send all characters. one thing we could do is create a new interface and canvas component. We say find face state manager. Gets called by different things, and that what does that get called by? I don't know. I'll come back to that. Gets called though, and then what it does is it says whenever you want to know about the face state, just use that. Or could be passed in the constructor. Thing that it needs to know, the canvas component, is not the face state manager, because that can be a singleton somewhere. It needs to know the character name. Find character. I don't know. This is tough stuff. I kind of feel like continuing with it off stream, it's like breaking my brain a little bit. It feels like it's not really compatible with streaming. Like I might need to just blunder through it off stream. So I'm going to stop the stream here and get to a quiet, deep place with this and make some progress, make some hard progress. This is really taxing me a little bit. Maybe I'm kind of tired too. Alright. I'm going to stop the stream. I'm going to stop the stream. I'm stopping the stream. Goose, thanks for joining. I'll catch you later.